7. Calm, the impulse of creation. The constructive power of sex is most commonly manifested in the reproduction of an offspring. The actual potential of sex is much more creative and important, though latent in nature. The sublime source of this power is attributed as Kam in the Indian scriptures. Kam is affirmed to be the root cause of every kind of desire and sense of pleasure of the jiva. All reflections and perceptions of beauty and joy emanate from this hidden force. The evolutionary impulse of creation and activity in nature is also driven by the sublime spurt of Kam. While referring to the distinct manifestations of thy potentials, Vibhutis, in nature, Lord Krishna cites in the Holy Gita, Prajnashchasmi Kandarpa. Meaning, I am present in Kamdev, the divine power of Kam that originates the birth of a creature. Indeed, the Kam is the source of the physical manifestation of life. The sublime force of Kam is the root of all creativity of nature reflected in this world. Its cosmic vibration is said to have inspired Lord Brahma towards creation of nature. The grand force of Kam is expressed in the reproductive power of the sex element in one form, and as the mental creativity in the other. No new imagination or constructive idea could be born without this universal force. The Hindu philosophy is perhaps the only religious school that has regarded Kam also a divine power. It reflects the sagacious reach of the Rishi acumen in the hidden folds of consciousness and also endorses their positive thinking that had risen up to supreme levels of absolute knowledge. They had discovered the limitless potentials of the enlightened sublimation of sex energy in evolution of the human self. Human personality could be categorized into three broad levels. The most common is the class of Narpashu, human beast, whose life revolves around sex, cravings, and stomach, selfish needs and greed, in varied extent and appearances. The currents of Kam Shakti flow downwards in such people. Dev Manav, divinely enlightened humans, are those whose Kam Shakti is refined and flows upwards and introvert. They often prove to be great personalities, endowed with exceptional potentials and talents who accomplish glorious benefits for the human society. The third and rarest class is that of Nar Narayan, human god, whose Kam Shakti is absolutely stable after ultimate sublimation. Lord Krishna therefore mentions at one place that, if you want to know the power of Devta in nature, search it in the Kam. Kam is the fundamental source of creation. Whatever appears or happens as soothing, good and beautiful in this world is an effect of Kam. The historic paintings and sculptures in the temples of Khajuraho and Konark are artistic depiction of the multiple expressions of Kam. These offer to all tourists and researchers a positive reflection of the power of Kam endowed in the human body. These art pieces also contain the spiritual notion of representing the idols or images of Kamdev. A unique conscious energy of Kam Shakti is eternally embodied in all human beings. It becomes the cause of lusty cravings when flowing downwards. Its elevation and upward flow transmutes in what is known as the grand force of Kundalini. The sublime energy of Kam can be absorbed, preserved and are transmitted through only two extrasensory nuclei, the Mooladhara and the Sahasrara. Its flow from these chakras also embodies the two ends of the evolution of personality. The Mooladhara enables the connection of the individual consciousness with the nature, whereas the Sahasrara is the source of linkage with the Parabrahm. It's a pity that most people remain unaware of the divine potentials of Kam Shakti and make only negligible use of this unique power. If the only knowledge a person has about fire is that it can burn anything, trigger Holocaust, he must either be an insane or utterly ill-fated due to his ignorance. He would lose the enormous boons of making use of fire in cooking, warming, evaporating, kindling light, etc. Similar is the case of those who are familiar with only one manifestation of the Kam Shakti as the force of sexual cravings. Their narrow understanding or attitude is simply expresses their ignorance, illusion or folly. For several decades since its invention, the use of atomic energy was confined to the destructive objectives of making atomic bombs. The world also got a glimpse of its giant devastating power in the World War II. However, the scientific awareness and invention of its constructive power have opened up unprecedented avenues of energy resources, for example, in thermal and electrical power generation and development. The energy of calm is also like the nuclear energy, the enormous importance of which is not fully understood and which thus remains dormant and largely misused or drained. The Freudian psychologists argue that the root cause of mental restlessness, excitation, insanity or psychic disorders lies in the hidden or suppressed desires in 99% cases. Their inference could be true, only if seen in a wider perspective, but the remedies advocated by them are elusive, incomplete and fallacious in general. In their views, fulfillment of sexual lust is essential. Dissatisfaction or suppression of sexual joy is the root cause of all psychological complications and ailments that would even lead to total insanity. Their interpretations and conclusions are erroneous because of the simple fact that sexual lust or any craving of that sort can never be fulfilled completely. One can't hope of viable satisfaction or peace of mind without constructive reorientation of such desires. Live examples of their own times evince their mistaken interpretations and logic. For long time the popularity and wide reception of Freud's theory propagated the wave of free sex in the Western society. But this didn't offer any lasting joy, fulfillment or sense of content to people's lust or sensual desires. This gave rise to the so-called permissive society. The experiments of unrestrained sex could not give any satisfactory results. More of sex triggers more carnal passions in general. It works like putting fuel in the fire, which would only aggravate the flames. The single-tracked approach of Freud was the major cause of this setback. His conclusions were rather incomplete and prejudiced. Had his diagnosis been supplemented with the positive and broader analysis, yoga theory and practices of continence as remedial measure, the results would have been quite encouraging in Europe and rest of the luxury-loving Occidental society. It would have saved depraving of the power of calm that was regarded so precious in the Indian scriptures of yore. The abominable expansion of beastly instinct would not have captured the already polluted culture across the globe. Neither there would have been the birth of the hippie and the gay societies. The downward flow of Kam Shakti gradually drains out all vigor from the body and makes one weak and hollow. This is what makes one old in the young age itself. Youthfulness emerges and persists with growing stock of this vital power. Those, despite being young in age, lose it abruptly in carnal excitements and lust, soon face the consequent loss of strength, zeal and vivacity. The elders who have cautiously preserved it on the contrary are found full of youthful enthusiasm and courage even in the old age. The real potential of sex energy is experienced only when its downward flow and dissipation is controlled and oriented inwardly. The delusions are then waned and one experiences that what was scorned or misused as an inferior or insignificant source of excitement was rather a reservoir of vital force, an elixir. The process of ascent and evolution of Pran begins with this realization and sublimation of the Kam Shakti. The Shastras on spirituality define Dharma, Arth, Kam and Moksha as the four principal facets of true accomplishments in human life. Here again the implications of Kam are mistaken by most of us because of misinterpreting this word as confined only to the sexual desires. Even the yogis, brahmachari and ascetic devotees at times get confused as to whether they are committing a blunder by restraining and refining the sexual lust. Some materialist thinkers interpret it in favor of their arguments of sensuality as a natural inspiration and unrestrained sex as a natural requirement. Such misconceptions arise due to erroneous and incomplete understanding of the meaning of Kam. Renowned Western psychologist Sigmund Freud is known to be the foremost propagator of such misconceptions. He referred sexual lust as libido and advocated it as the basic, natural tendency of human beings. He affirmed it as the paramount regulator of the course and activities in one's life and concluded that its suppression is the cause of varieties of physical and psychological ailments. His analysis and inferences did not take into account the spiritual nature of human mind and related psychological issues. Neither could these reinvent or encompass the comprehensive teachings of the science of spirituality and total psychology that the refinement, careful preservation and sublimation of this immense power excels creative talents, compassion and mental trenchancy and also educes serene sentiments of altruist service and devotion. Alfred Adler, likewise many eminent psychologists, has described Freud's narrow interpretations as a great lapse and argued that sensual desire is only an ordinary instinct that is important in sustaining the growth of one's family tree and expansion of human population in particular. Conclusions driven from focusing libido alone as the core of human psychology are narrow-dimensional and ignore all other facets and tendencies of human personality. In his views, the motivating force of the natural psychology and normal behavior of a person lies in his latent social tendencies and related desires of being socially acceptable and recognized and not in his sensual desires. This is what makes him a social creature. His natural aspiration of being a member of the society, receiving respectful attention from people around is the inspiring force or the source of his enthusiasm and hopes in his multifarious actions. Dr. Adler thus presented the desire of self-recognition and establishment, Atmasthapana, as the key factor in the development of one's personality and the flow of his life. This motivating force also encompasses a superior transmutation of Freudian libido in more constructive manner. According to the globally reputed thinker, psychologist Carl G. Jung, the latent power of sex elements cannot be confined to lust and excitements. Rather, it is a psychic energy that motivates the activities of mind. In his views, the word libido should more comprehensively imply the hidden willpower, the potential of self-continence and psychic conduct. There could be several streams of its manifestation in human life. Enormous tendencies of mind could be reflected in a human personality. The flow of the psychic energy of a person is more prominent and intense in the direction of his paramount intrinsic tendencies. The force and direction of this flow architects his character and personality. Positive orientation or transmutation of this flow is more soothing and effective in refinement of one's inherent instincts rather than its suppression. The same holds feasible for constructive channelization of Kam Shakti too. Jung's conclusions in his popular thesis, The Psychology of the Unconscious, imply that Kam is an impenetrable vital force. This life energy is expressed in multiple artistic creations or constructive endeavors in human life. Sexual joy is only a momentary and negligible fraction of its immense force that is present even in animals for the purpose of reproduction and population growth. Those aware of this fact refrain from being entrapped in the vicious web of sensuous cravings and carnal pleasures. They attempt sublimation of the sex energy and constructive use of the creative potentials of Kam in self-development and cultural or social ascent. In Jung's words, when the psychic energy is employed in righteous direction towards definite positive goals, the agility of mind gets controlled and it remains calm and stable, resulting in creative expressions of zeal, delight, courage and talents. The aforesaid analysis of Professor Jung appeared to be the reverberation of the assertions of the Indian rishis, who had successfully experimented, experienced and recommended the transmutation of the seed of Kam into the source of absolute knowledge, bliss and vigor. The following hymn of the Atharva Ved reflects their paeans of the divine nature of Kam Shakti. It reads as, O Lord, your manifestation as Kam is also so eminent and auspicious. Its prominence is not untrue. May thy force be embodied within us in the flow of calm Shakti and eliminate the sinful thinking and inspire us towards the illumined, righteous, blissful life. Calm is indeed the sublime inspiration indwelling in the inner cause of every living being, which motivates the jiva towards the delight of ascent, the zeal of progress, the joy of humor and pleasures, the courage of adventures, etc. This is what is also expressed as charm or biomagnetic attraction. Its power is manifested in the inanimate matter as the natural flow of positive and negative electrical currents. Every atom or subatomic particle is exciting by unfolding this latent power in its nucleus. Its oscillating stimulation in the latter emits energy radiation. The energy waves of nature's power emanate from this cosmic impulse and generate the limitless activities in the world. Its activation in the living beings exalts enthusiasm and blissful emotions. The jiva, being aware of the immense power of soothing conjunction of the conscious powers, is naturally educed towards cooperation, amity and love, and enjoys such soothing efforts in all phases of life. This bliss of commingling is referred as calm in the scriptures. As mentioned earlier, the activation of sex element and associated emotional vibrations and consequent reactions are tiny fractions of the power of calm. The pleasure of sex is only an inferior manifestation of the force of calm, which alone was unfortunately mistaken by some modern psychologists as the substance of human nature. Illicit and uncontrolled pleasure of this sensual act is in fact pernicious to both man and woman. The Indian sages of yore had therefore warned against it and had recommended its sane, disciplined application for the purpose of generating healthy, talented offspring. The vivid impulse of calm is reflected in manifold activities and expressions of life in nature. The soothing beauty and fragrance of blossoming flowers displays the splendor of calm in them. This flow of bliss also generates the sweet humming of the singing bee, dancing of the peacock, chirping and agility of the birds, etc. In humans, it is seen in enormous ways of expressions and experiences of joy on different occasions. The hopping of children, sporting and alacrity of young boys, singing and artistic dancing of young girls, etc. demonstrate this hidden current of delight in their inner world. This is what gives a soothing feel to the wise elders in foresighted planning of future or resolving the problems of today. Its presence introduces itself in the mental engrossment of the poets and artists in their creations. These are enlivened, creative expressions of the power of calm of a higher level. Its further refined and evolved impulse works behind the noted endeavors, accomplishments and emergence of dignified personalities in this world. The constructive and superior expressions and use of this natural power is what is implied in the mentioning of calm together with dharma, artha and moksha in the holy scriptures. While dharma and moksha encompass the spiritual fronts of life, artha and calm correspond to its ascent in the physical, perceivable world. Thus, calm is a foundational pillar of the edifice of successful life. It is the source of educing evolution of the Chetan and beautification of the Jar existence of nature. It is this pure, preeminent form of calm Shakti that should be recognized and maintained in our lives, desisting from all misconceptions and narrow interpretations of this creative force in mere sensual context. The inner spark of consciousness that induces the spirit of joy and motivates one's attempts to progress in life is referred as calm in the Shastric literature. This mobilizing force of inner aspiration, zeal and courageous endeavor has been the root of whatever significant or glorious has been achieved in this world. Calm is of paramount importance in the emotional domains too. Serene love is an enlightened expression of the pure emotions in the depths of the inner self. Linkage of pure love with divinity, God, makes it devotion. Benevolence, generosity, pious affection, kindness, compassion, etc. are natural manifestations, expressions, of this emotional elixir. This is what inspires the higher sentiments of patriotism, altruist austerity, sacrifice for high ideals, etc. Refinement and preservation of Kam Shakti is essential for this refinement and evolution at the levels of sentiments. The disciplines of continence and moral conduct are therefore emphasized everywhere in the Shastric scriptures. The devotional songs of Meera and Surdas, the hymns of Tulsidas in Ramcharitmanas, the literary depiction of Kalidas in Abhigyan Shakuntalam, etc. offer immense inner bliss to the readers. The epitician creations of Isaizenia, style of the Western poets like Duode similarly are the expression of eternal beauty that make the reader feel the divine existence of the invisible Thy power. These evince the peerless creative power of superior reflections of Kam. Most of us, most often, inadvertently waste this immense power in materialistic joys and thirst of cravings. We therefore remain devoid of its divine grace that educes radiance of sagacious thoughts and enlightened emotions. Most insidious is its draining out in carnal pleasure and sex. This is why Brahmacharya is affirmed in the Shastras as the dire necessity of ascent of human life, worth its dignity. Brahmacharya begins with self-restraint in day-to-day life at the gross level that demands austere continence over pressing passions and careless use of the sense organs. Such disciplines should not be viewed or practiced as compulsions or suppression against one's natural instincts. Rather, these should progress gradually with and be self-inspired as we realize the vital role of Kam. The gist of success of Brahmacharya lies in one's sane faith in the principles of morality and high values of human life. The power of Brahmacharya makes one a source of inspirations for others too. Sita and Savitri have been such immortal ideals in Indian history. Just recalling their names educes pious sentiments in our minds. The vigor of Brahmacharya can even win over death by augmenting one's physical and inner strength and spiritual force. No doubt it is a source of creative vitality. It's not a suppression, rather an educing mode of evolution of emotions. German poet Nevatish's immense love for his girlfriend Sophie was serene, beyond the gross charm of the body alone. After her untimely death at the young age of 15 years, he established her memory as an enlivened image in his heart. She was now a spiritually conscious beloved idol for him. This was now the source of motivation for ideals that had changed the direction of his life towards greater heights. This idol of ideals in his heart had brought him so close to his inner self, to his soul, to thee. The transmutation of his love in divine devotion is a remarkable example of sublimation of his Kam. At one place in his memoirs this poet narrates, "Once I was crying in the memory of my beloved standing near her grave. I was feeling so helpless, depressed and at great pains. Suddenly, a sublime glow emerged from the invisible horizons and reached my inner self as a spark of divine inspirations. It eliminated all the smog of dole, darkness of ignorance. The thraldom of worldly attachment, physical affection was destroyed. Unprecedented courage, hope and calmness had now replaced all despair and gloom. My beloved had appeared as a divine impulse. I experienced luminescence of the infinite in the eyes of her image in my heart. This infinity got consecrated in my soul. My spiritual beloved living in my heart as an idol of ideals is also the source of all inspirations in my life, my light." Transmutation of sensual attraction or physical attachment to pious, spiritual love reflects the sublimation of Kam. This expresses the magnificent beauty of Kam. The elevation of Kam by Brahmacharya induces trenchancy of thoughts, radiance of talents, vigor in voice, and compassion in the heart. Its ultimate ascent is reflected in the emotional domain as limitless devotion to thee and showers the nectar of thy love. The rishis, the sages of yore had realized the immense emotional and spiritual powers of Kam. They had therefore advocated a positive approach to its refinement and preservation by constructive use rather than its forced suppression. The word Kamna was derived by them to represent the enormous expansion of the seed of Kam in the mental and emotional world as aspiration, zeal, desire, to rise, to evolve, to acquire happiness. Let us look at a hymn in Atharva Ved, the 9th of February 16, in this context. It says, Kamo Jagne Prathamam, Vishwaha Mahan, meaning, Kam is the paramount power in this world. It can create everything and, if misused, can even devastate everything. This is the power that arouses in the mind of every living being as the impulse of enthusiasm and is expressed in the zeal for progress, for ascent, in courageous attempts and in the feeling of joy. This is what gives rise to the power of attraction in a living being and the continuous flow of electricity, energy, in the inanimate matter. On the physical fronts too, it is the source of activities of nature. The eternal energy waves originate from this sublime element and generate the infinite activities and motion in the universe. What the Western psychologists like Freud and Adler have referred as urges, id, libido, will, etc. and analyzed in the confined periphery of sex, is described by the Vedic sages as only a negligible, inferior expression of the desires generated by Kam. Aspiration or desire is a naturally inspiring force of consciousness. Its cautious elevation and positive channelization can effectuate dignified progress in all dimensions of life. Desires should not be let entrapped in the pleasures of the body alone. According to a quote in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 1:4, the word Kam should be interpreted in the broad sense of Kamna. There would be no vivacity, no activity, no creativity and evolution in this world, in one's life without the emergence of Kamna. That which induces interest or engages the individual self in the flow of life, in the routine chores and joys, and which educes the aspiration of development, of exaltation, is defined as Kam in the Shastric literature. One who has not realized and experienced its sublimated flux in the joy of benevolence, enlightened desires, zealous determination and accomplishing noble endeavors, would be regarded as half dead. He cannot expect any notable success or rise in life. The spiritual scientists and the psychologists like Carl Jung have analyzed Kam as psychic energy and affirmed its refined expression in bodily vigor, vitality, mental proficiency and spiritual radiance. They also attribute it as the source of happiness, exultation and exaltation in the emotional realms that enables expression and fulfillment of the natural tendencies of the soul too. The Vedic scriptures, Shastras, describe Kam as the life energy or Ritis, which if prevented from being burnt and lost in debased lust and sex, and if activated towards the brain, towards the higher domains of mind, excels and empowers one's life in all respects. The upward flow of Ritis becomes feasible by Brahmacharya. Further sublimation of Kam Shakti as the source of emotional intensity and linkage between the sadhak and the divine focus of his devotion. The holy Ganges emerges from the deep heart of the Himalayas and continues its unperturbed flow, beatifying all the living beings, vegetation, soil on its way and sacrificing itself in the gigantic ocean. This is a divine expression of the sacred power of Kam active in nature. This life energy, when oriented towards spirituality, effectuates realization of the soul and its eternal origin in thy realms. Gradual refinement, preservation, constructive orientation towards mental and emotional excellence, and spiritual sublimation of this force in a human being induces its ultimate transmutation and expansion in the supreme, cosmic Pran. Life devoted to this noble cause is revered as the life endowed with Brahmacharya and is the ideal of the glorious lives of the preaching in the Ved and Upanishad.